B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach. Have we ever asked ourselves, why have so many horrible things happened to the Jewish nation? If I would ask you right now, why did the Holocaust happen? Or why did the Spanish Inquisition happen? Why are so many Jews today, in today's day and age, scattered all over the world? Why are so many Jews in the world that don't even know they are Jewish? Why are there so many Jews around the world, around the entire globe, that know they're Jewish but have no connection whatsoever to Judaism? In fact, studies show that about 70% of Jews all over the world have no affiliation with a synagogue or Judaism whatsoever. Why are the numbers so high? Why have the Jews gone through so much atrocities in their existence? Why was the temple destroyed? Why do we have so many problems in the Middle East? Why are there so many quarrels about Israel? And I'm sure when we think of these things, we point our fingers towards so many different directions. Because of this, because of that, it's political, What if I tell you there's one answer to all of it? And it's in this week's parasha. It all started with 12 people. Moshe Rabbeinu was asked by the Jewish nation to send 12 people to go scout out the land of Israel before entering Israel, to go spy out the land. And they went for 40 days and they scouted the land, and we know what happened when they came back. 10 out of 12, except for Caleb ben Yefuneh and Yehoshua ben Nun, the 10 other tribes all had a negative report about Israel. And since then, God promised the Jews, after the Jews cried because of that Lashon Hara, negative report about Israel, God promised that for each day that they spent in Israel, they will get a year in the Midbar. And that generation had to all die out. Anyone above 20 years old, they died out in the desert. They did not survive. They did not enter into Israel. And after that, for Dorot, for generations, that date, the 9th of Av, became a day of mourning for the Jewish people. The Spanish Inquisition happened on the 9th of Av. And so many other destructions. We know the Beit HaMikdash, both Beit HaMikdash, the first temple and the second temple, were also destroyed on the 9th of Av. And we are today where we are because of just that one decision of the 10 tribes coming with a negative report. Had they had known, if they had known that it's going to have such repercussions, they would have probably not given that kind of report about Israel. However, they did. So what made them stumble? What was the trigger? Perhaps it's the fact, and this is something that the Chachamim bring down, they lost the track of what was important. The most important thing they had to remember was that Hashem has told the Jewish nation, this is your land. I am taking you to this land and I'm going to give it to you. No ifs, no buts. But sometimes, unfortunately, other things cloud our judgment. It could be because some of the rabbis say they were thinking about they're going to lose their position. They're no longer going to be the leaders that they are if they enter Israel. So they wanted to prolong it as much as they can, staying in the Midbar. Whatever it was, they lost track of what was actually important. The fact that they were doing a job for Hashem. And when you're doing a job for God, there's nothing that's going to bring you down, as long as you are doing what you need to be doing in His eyes. Everybody knows the Rambam, Maimonides. Who doesn't? He was one of the greatest halachic authorities of all time, Rav Moshe ben Maimon. And in his time, you would think that Maimonides was revered by all. But in fact, it was quite the opposite. In his time, he had quite an opposition all over the world. He did have many followers and lovers. In fact, on one of his trips, one of the students of the Rambam sends a letter to the Maimonides saying that where I am here in this country, everybody is putting you down. Everyone is bashing your name. It's such a chilul Hashem. I want to go to war with these people. And in response, The Rambam writes a letter to his students and says, do not involve yourself in a machloket. Don't involve yourself in a strife. I don't want it. You see? And here's what the Rambam says. All those people that are saying negative things about me, once I am gone, it's never going to happen again. Once I'm gone, no one's going to say anything negative anymore. They're only going to see all the positivity. And in fact, that's exactly what happened. After the passing of the Rambam, all of his books became world-renowned. Nobody ever argued on Rambam again. Everyone accepted him as the great sage that he was. Because the Rambam knew what he is doing in the world is L'Shem Shamayim, for God's sake, and that's only for God's sake. And he knew that there are people that are threatened by the fact that he is doing something so great and he's getting so many followers for it. And people get threatened, but they're not going to come out and say that they're threatened by it because their judgment is clouded. So they'll have many reasons that sound even very Torah-based and spiritual-based. But the Rambam knew at the end of the day, it's all stemming from the point, from one place. They have lost their target. I have my target. Another instance, a rabbi from a different faraway city sends a letter to the Rambam after he had read some of his books, questioning many of his halachic decisions with proof and evidence from different Sfarim. And then at the end of his letter, he writes to the Rambam, and I hope that the Rambam forgives me. I hope the Rav forgives me for me putting down your halachic decisions, but I believe that you are wrong in these decisions. The Rambam, after answering all of the Rav's questions, after putting all of the Rav's questions at ease and showing him where exactly he got his decisions, which Gemara, which Mishnayot, he proved every single decision that he made that they were all correct. At the end, then he said, and about your apology, there is no need for you to apologize to me. You see, I love it more even when people try to correct me. More than when people come and tell me, Hazaku Baruch. You know why? Because that's how I learn. I'm only doing this for Hashem. So if I am making a mistake, I want to know, and that even makes me even happier to know that someone out there wants to correct me. And if I am wrong, then so be it. I have to fix it. So I'm happy that a person such as yourself has taken the time to try to fix me, rather than just say, Hazaku Baruch, great job. Well, I know. I've done my work. I know it's a great work. I know it's a great job. But I want to know if I've made a mistake, if someone's going to stand up against me. The Rambam went through all of that. The Rambam went through people burning his sefarim in the middle of the town. They took the books of the Maimonides and burnt them. However, that never bothered him. And he came publicly and said that. Because he said, when I'm doing something for Hashem, and I know that I'm completely doing it L'Shem Shamayim, these things don't bother me. Because when I'm gone, it's all going to go away. All of this work is going to be accepted. Because he knew he was doing it for God. That's where the Meraglim made a mistake. They had to clearly only put their kavanah and concentrate on one thing. We are doing this for Hashem. And if we're doing something for Hashem, we're going to be completely 1,000% successful. However, their subconscious got the best of them. They started thinking, well, what if we go into Israel and people will look at us the same way? As soon as that thought comes in, all the negativity came in. All the fear started to flow in. Had they known that just by their negative report, the Jews will go through so much hardship for thousands of years, they would have tried maybe, just maybe a little harder to keep their eye on the ball, to remember that after all, they're working for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is so important. Every action we take, every decision we make, every single decision we make, especially for our children, it is so important to remember that this is ledorot. It's for generations. You never know what impact a small decision you make has on generations to come.